Okay, well, we're live now. Yeah.
Yeah, hey, what's up, guys? This is Tyler Blunt from Super Squad D, where the D stands for. I thought you were going to say something.
Daredevil, probably. And
That makes way too much sense.
Yeah.
The D
That's right.
stands for Daredevil.
And hello, guys. This is Tyler Blunt from Super Squad D, where today the D stands for Jessica Jones. Is that right?
What the heck, man? What are you doing? What is happening right now?
What's up, guys? Is that what I'm supposed to say? Am I supposed to say?
Dude, what the heck? What the heck? Why are you beeping? What? I'm not even saying anything bad, dude.
Look at that. My hands are up here. I'm not even doing anything.
The heck?
I'm not the one in control. I'm not even the one in control.
We got some big news today about the Netflix Marvel series, Disney Plus, Kevin Feige, and more.
It depends on how you view big news. Big news. Was I supposed to be quiet during that?
No, we're supposed to be talking during this.
Are you okay?
That's how it works.
But yeah.
So today
we have to do it perfect all at once. This is why we're recording it, so we can edit it later.
We can clean this up later.
Yeah.
So we got some interesting news because one of the most talked about news stories surrounding Netflix and the Marvel shows is, will they ever come to Disney Plus? Why does Marvel hate Netflix? Why is there such bad blood? And we got a little bit of new info.
Well, Tyler, it's called business.
I don't understand.
and most of the time, you don't really want to make a huge amount of profit for one of your main competitors.
That doesn't sound right. That can't be right. Well, finally, they nailed down Kevin Feige. This is as of February 2021. So this is the most recent update because at this point, almost all of the rights, if not all the rights to the Marvel properties that Netflix had licensed have expired. So naturally, everybody wants to know what is going to happen. And here's what Kevin Feige, he had an interview and he talked about it, but this was the pertinent part that he had to say. He said, I think we could probably do it. And that there's always rumors online about things reverting, and sometimes it's true and not true. And he's not exactly sure of the contracts, but perhaps someday. So the reason this is kind of big is this is one of the first times he's ever been like even remotely open to it. And like you mentioned before, it's probably because he didn't want to say anything while the rights were at another company. But it seems like a real possibility to me. Would that be something that you would want? Would you want them to revive the Netflix shows?
Well, first of all, sorry, I've got sinus issues or a cold or something, so I've kind of got the voice of God going right now, and it's not even intentional, but I'm like, wait. Like, first of all, there's only so much we can take from this. Like, this is still pure speculation because he's obviously, like, he's purposefully playing it very tight to his chest. You know, he's very like, I mean, I think we could do it, you know?
Yeah.
Announcement
next week. All the shows are coming back. Like, how he would do that.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, and the Netflix shows were very good for the Marvel brands. It allowed them to take some of the maybe, I don't want to say like smaller name characters, because Daredevil is one of the bigger Marvel guys as far as like the street level heroes, but it allowed them to be able to very like more successfully, more freely do the street level heroes without having to do giant movies about street level heroes, you know, because they were kind of moving past that point. So it was good for them from a creative process. But the problem is, because it was going to be on a third-party streaming network, it was going to have to always be only loosely connected to the MCU.
Yeah.
So the Netflix shows were good and bad because it created this conundrum that we're in right now where Disney goes, oh, well, you know what? Well, we actually feel like we have the resources to do our own streaming platform, and it's very successful. And then because it's successful, they're like, well, we're going to bring a bunch of Marvel original shows to that. And so now Marvel's sitting there like, well, we already had some originals. What do we do with them now? So that said, to go back to your question, would I want to see it? Absolutely, I would, because I feel like those were good stories. They were well made. They were well told. And I feel like now having the freedom to more directly tie those to MCU movie plot lines and situations and be able to do that more directly, I think, make it canon. I think there's nothing but it could be nothing but beneficial to Marvel and Marvel Studios.
It's really interesting that the budget seems to be massive for these original Marvel shows. And so to me, it's that they can go even farther than Netflix can, like you mentioned, because they not only have the money and the success of Disney Plus, but they have the freedom to interact or make characters interact in ways that they couldn't on Netflix, because like all these shows have the movie actors in them. Like we actually have like Tom Hiddleston and Elizabeth Olsen and all these characters coming back from the film.
Are you forgetting our man Bellamy there?
Oh, dude, what was I thinking? Oh, Liz himself.
Tom Hiddleston, Elizabeth Olsen, and no one else of note or importance.
No one else, other big actors. Oh, you must be talking about Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye. Yeah, I knew that's who you were talking. That's who you were coming.
But if we were doing a video about Hawkeye, I'd be a whole lot more into it right now. That's for sure.
So, what would be really cool to me though is like imagine Hawkeye and Daredevil teaming up. That would be awesome. Yes. I mean, I think that would be a fan's dream. I do see the benefit though of like the only kink I would say would be Marvel also has a really strong formula for movies. And if they did a movie, I imagine they would recast all the characters. That would be a bummer for characters like Daredevil because Charlie Cox is absolutely awesome as Daredevil. I actually was talking to somebody the other day and I was like, you know what? I think they should just recast him. He's just way too old. He's super old. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, he's 2 years older than me? No, he's totally young. No. He could go on for 10, 12 more seasons of this show. He's not old at all. What
prime of his life over here, Charlie Cox. Prime of his life. Superhero.
So they could do a lot more with him. But then I think about characters like Iron Fist, who was not that well received. And then you had a few, like, I don't want to say bad seasons, but Luke Cage season 2 didn't just get universal acclaim. Neither did Jessica Jones season 3. So you've got, and then of course Iron Fist was the most largely panned by a lot of people. So then I do think like, oh, well, we got a Shang-Chi movie coming out. What if they made an Iron Fist movie instead? So I'm torn on that. How do you feel about that?
Well, this is where I think it provides an opportunity for them to keep some form of media focused on the street level. Yeah. And they don't have to take it and make it grand scale like they have to do with the MCU right now. Because if you go back like we've been doing to like the beginning of, phase 1 MCU movies, it really starts off a lot smaller. Iron Man has struggles within his own company, it's kind of the plot line. It's business struggles, and then
trying to license shows with properties from other networks, right? Is that,
right.
Is that what it is? I'm pretty sure that was the plot of Iron Man 1.
Iron Man 1 was actually just like a pre-telling autobiography of Kevin Feige as the director. So anyway, they've got, it keeps growing off of that, right? Yeah. Until eventually it goes to, oh yeah, we bring in Thor, who's from another realm of Asgard, and he comes to our realm now. But then on top of that, like we eventually get to the Avengers, and suddenly aliens are invading New York, and you have to always keep growing off of that.
Even the street level heroes like Spider-Man, a lot of explosions. Whole lot of explosions.
And you had when they finally got to make Homecoming, for example. Yeah. They keep it relatively street level, but he still is connected to larger Avengers plot lines. Yeah. So this gives them a chance, I think, to and then ultimately all of this builds up to from what started as a businessman in an iron suit now becomes literally a businessman in an iron suit reviving half of the universe's population because they were
right. No spoilers, mate.
My bad. So this gives them an opportunity to have a different perspective. Yeah. I think that's one of the reasons why they could feel fine with taking these characters that are already established on a street level and focusing them on that level, but being able to be a little bit more open about like, oh yeah, do you remember when aliens came to New York? That was crazy. And, actually say those sort of things, but keep it on a smaller scale. And I think that would work pretty well. And one of the reasons why I do think this will work pretty well is because in this particular article that we were using as a reference point here, do we need to plug the website? This is a editorial note. Should we mention that there's a specific article?
Yeah, we could mention this from Deadline reports.
Okay.
Do you want to say the whole URL, like http://www?
Well, you sent me a Den of Geek.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Website.
Scratch the it wasn't from Deadline. Give them no credit.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, you could just mention it, or when you go back and edit it, you could just like throw up a screenshot of it overlaid on the video.
Well, I'll just mention it right now.
Yeah.
But for example, like we were kind of using as a reference point for some of this information, an article that was published that announced this whole quote from denofgeek.com. And so if you go to Den of Geek's article about it, they even mentioned shows like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter, which were more directly out of the MCU, but also still stayed separate from like the movie events to a point, Like Hydra comes back and that's in the show and in the movies, but at the same time, the show does not intersect with the movies. I think this just kind of opens the door for the possibility of Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist being able to interact with that world more, but still stay separate. I think it could work.
And I think the one thing that I never really heard about anything outside of maybe Iron Fist was no one ever complained about the casting itself. They really complained about the plots. Again, other than Iron Fist.
Yeah.
People
had Iron Fist season 2. We both thought was like
way
leaps and bounds better.
Way better.
So
and I was bummed that we didn't get a season 3 because it was so much better.
Yep.
But you look at like The Punisher, Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, these castings were all almost universally praised because they were so good. So I could see a situation in which Disney looks at this and goes, hey, you know what? The writing wasn't super strong with their team of writers, but with our team of writers, we could really take these characters, run with them, and integrate them into the MCU in ways that would be really interesting. So I'd love to see it.
My only concern about casting is Rosario Dawson going to have time to show up in every single episode of every show while she's also doing the Ahsoka Tano show?
I can say this. They should just scrap the whole idea. If she's not going to be in at least 3 episodes of every show and drop Easter eggs to show that they're connected but not really, if she's not going to do that, then they might as well forget the whole thing.
The question then becomes, if she's in it, if these shows come to Disney Plus, does that mean that Ahsoka Tano is canon in the MCU?
I think it's pretty much confirmed at this point. I think you're right. I think that totally confirms it right here. But you know what? At the end of the day, I'd love to know what you guys think. You guys on the other side of the screen, or I think everyone's watching this on a screen. I was going to say on your phones, but I'm pretty sure phones still have screens.
Does it count? Does it count? Are phones canon in
this world? These are the real questions. I want to know what you guys think. Like, let us know in the comments below. Would you want them to bring over these characters, or would you want them just to say, start over, recast? Because let's be real, they're going to do something with Daredevil. Yeah. Like, at some point, Marvel is going to do something with Daredevil. It's not an option to just say, let's forget this character. Let's pretend like it doesn't exist.
Daredevil and Punisher are too big and too popular. There's far too many douchebags with screen printed Punisher skulls on the backs of their trucks out there in the world for Punisher to not be recast or brought back in somehow.
Super right. So let us know in the comments below. If you haven't done it already, hit that subscribe, hit that like, hit that comment, hit that share, hit that X, hit that minimize. Hit those buttons. Hit that Windows key. Hit that
Control Alt Delete.
Hit that Control Alt Delete.
Hit Alt F4. All of that, man.
Hit it all. And until next time, as always, that's the Jackhammer. And I'm T-Bone.
Yep.
And you're watching You're watching Super Squad. You know what? When I said that, I thought the intro was going to pop up, and this is just really inconvenient, mate. This is
Yippee! Where the D stands for Duke Dage.
the producer's making me look really stupid right now.
The Defenders. That's what the D stands for.
The Defenders.
That was it. You know what? Scrap it. Let's redo the whole video.
Redo the whole thing. The Defenders. The D stands for The Defenders.
And that's the ending.
It's over.